I did mess up very bad in workplace with relays.
Yeah, that's exactly, like, I think it's really nice, but like when you have a bit more confidence with Git, then you can start it.
It was actually a little bit fun to fix that mess.
I mean, that's when you learn a lot, but
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. It's possible to adjust the volume for the headphones somewhere in Zoom, because when I do it normally, like control it in the computer, it's not working, and I have it really loud.
Sorry, what was your question? I went to stand up for a bit. Can you repeat, please?
Just that I can hear you in my headphones very loudly, and I cannot control the volume in like normally, you know, in my computer. There's somewhere in the Zoom I can control the.
So I don't know what happens, but like if you go to the mute button on the side, there's an arrow. Maybe click there and select the speaker the same as the system. So like, for instance, these headphones are also wireless, and if I make them wireless, at first they were not working with Zoom. I had to tweak the options there.
Hello again.
Hey everybody.
Hello.
Hey. I see some faces from the old class.
Hello, class.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, hello. So my microphone sometimes goes crazy and start making a lot of noise, and I have no control over it. So if you hear a lot of noise and I'm around, just say something so that I can turn down the volume. So 18 people. Still missing people. Hey Magda, can you hear now?
Hello.
You hear? Can
Hi. Yeah, finally.
Managed, yes.
Nice.
Yeah, I was muted, sorry. Dumbest reason ever, but anyway, yeah.
Are you sure? Because when you're muted, I usually see that.
I was somehow. Whatever. I'm here. Hello.
Hello, Sonia. Hi.
21 people. I wish I could reorganize your faces in my screen.
Yeah, I'm actually trying this. I never used it.
I don't think you can. If you can, just tell me how then.
What you've got the nav bar on top. You see, top right corner. You can kind of. You mean like literally reorganized, right?
Yes, literally
alphabetically or something.
Yes.
No.
I wanted to put mentors in one corner and students in the other, so I could count more easily.
No.
High expectations, you know.
But yeah, you have like speaker view and gallery view. And gallery view, you see everyone at the same time. So let me count by my fingers.
I can't even see half of my class here. I can see a few 21 other faces.
I think there's a lot of people missing.
Yeah, a lot. I mean, from my class, a lot.
There are only 21 so far.
Yeah. How many mentors are we? Hey, Swati.
Hey, Marta. How many people are we supposed to be?
Hi.
Lucha, show yourself. Guess what, Swati?
Yeah.
I have the same issue with the camera that I had with the
okay.
with the microphone the other day.
Okay.
I am trying, but I don't know why.
So I think we're 7 mentors. So right now there's 14 students. Is that right?
Is that how much supervision we need to survive this class today? Oh God.
So scary.
No,
this is scary right now.
No, but it's easier. The more mentors there are, the more breakout rooms there are. And the less people in each. So
yeah.
Going to learn 7 times more than the other sessions.
Yeah. So all the people that volunteer, I just take them. And I'm very happy.
Now I'm very scared.
Yes, so much.
There's nothing to be scared of.
No, there's nothing to be scared of.
We
So I
have
think,
crossed React, so I think this is going to be okay. React and Node, yeah.
I think you can survive.
I don't know if you already across React. I'm on the way across React.
Okay, so I'm going to assume that everyone is here, and if not, well, they'll join.
They're lost.
The guys are seriously unrepresented on this call.
Oh, okay. You were trying to assess that.
Well, in mentors,
like,
definitely.
It's like me, Tiago, Mohammed,
John.
Oh no, then,
John here. Oh no, there's
James,
Amer as
John.
well.
Yeah, there's some there. Yeah,
There's some. It's in the mentor side that it's only you. Sorry.
it's only me. No pressure. Huh? No pressure.
No pressure. Okay, so let's start
There
this.
we go. Hi, Amer.
There you go. They're coming out of the shadows now. They're coming out of there you go.
Oh, nice.
Amer
So,
isn't smoking. Hell yeah.
God, people, you're terrible. Even online, you don't shut up. So let's start the class. So the cool part is that I can mute you. So if you talk a lot, I'll just mute you. So is there anyone who did not watch the videos? Just say it now, because otherwise it will be a mess. So everyone watched the videos.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm positively surprised. I was actually super afraid that someone wouldn't.
I'm a little skeptical, and I sense some hesitation from some of them. Yeah,
I wouldn't be too surprised.
I didn't watch the last one, but I watched the other three.
Can I say one thing? I've watched them all, but I don't think I remember it all. I have some notes, but like I feel like some of us might feel the same.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's not too bad. If you watch at least, it's.
I have the idea. Sure, yeah.
So the way I'm planning to go on is now it's time for questions, and I'll show you a few things that were not on the videos. And then we'll go for exercises, and there will be 3 exercises. The first one is the most important one, and then the other 2 is more so that you're aware that some things can lead you to a mess. And yeah, during the exercises, you'll all be in breakout rooms. I'm guessing it will be 2-3 students per room and 1 mentor. And I'll be just walking around between different rooms. And then around 3:30, we'll all come back here for final questions and for Sana to show you some cool stuff on VS Code. And there should be a break between 2 and 2:30, more or less. Mentors will decide when exactly to take the break in their own rooms. So I think that's it. And any questions about the videos? That's silence.
Yes, just a second.
Why am I not surprised?
If you ask us if we have any questions, we'll bombard you with questions.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll set the time. but yeah, if you have questions, like please ask now.
I have marked my questions. Some of them are pretty simple, but I had a question. When I think it was in Ida's video, she was using the command git k, and then she could see what was happening, but no one talks about that.
Go, Ida. It's your question to answer.
Yeah, git k is the command. Actually, is the application that can show you the history of the Git, and it do the same that we do with the Git log. It's just a little bit graphic type.
And it's an extension that we need to download, or if I...
No, if you use Git Bash, you can have it, but yeah, I see some of my friends in the Mac couldn't use that, so you can use git log instead if you cannot see git k. Yeah,
I can use it in Mac actually. Surprisingly.
Oh, okay. So
then.
nice. so nice.
I never do that. I never use that.
Yeah.
I do not like it.
In
But-
Windows, you can use in Git Bash.
Perfect. I'm not fancy, so it's okay.
So
I
basically,
just tried. It didn't work on me.
So GitK, yeah, like for instance, in me, I'm on Linux and I have to install it explicitly. But it's basically a graphical interface for Git, and there are plenty of those. My favorite is like Git Kraken. It looks very cool. But basically, like on the graphical interface, you can see the branches better than you see with Gitlog. I'll actually copy paste you a command that is super long for Gitlog, but makes the log look super nice as well.
Perfect, because there's also Nathan is using an extension too that it seems to mark some sort of percentage of what he's doing. Did you notice that? No.
You have to ask him. Send him a private message.
Okay.
He cannot be here today, but I'm pretty sure he'll answer.
And then about also it could be a question for Ida. Sorry, I can't activate my cam. I will try to do it later.
It's fine. Your voice is fine. That's the important part.
Great. And when you were doing the Git checkout commits, to go to the commit, but I don't understand why I want to go to the commit.
For example, sometimes you need to get back to your history and see, for example, what's happened there. A simple example. My friends make the component and use some tricks, and I want to know how he did that. So I check out to that commit, and I can see where is he changed it for checking that. Or sometimes you need to fix some things, and it's also you can check out to the commit. And
so when I do something wrong that it's not working, but I'm not sure where I lose it, I can go through the commits until I find the one that works.
Yeah, that's actually when I use it. My code's working, and I know it was working at some commit, so I just go back there to see what the difference is. You actually have Git if that you can use to check the difference between the
both commits. Yeah, that's what
and an older one. So you could also use that, and probably some graphical interface will show you the differences in a nicer way. But you can also just go back and run it and see what happens.
Perfect.
I think it's a very good documentation, Git, for do the stuff, because in job it's happened. You need to do the same stuff. So instead of going to documentation, sometimes you can see how your colleague did that in the Git story. So you can use that way.
Cool. And then I have one last part where this is about the cherry picking, Marta.
Tell me about the cherry pick.
Just give me a second because I marked them all with the things. I couldn't follow the last part of the cherry picking.
What parts?
Because I do Git cherry pick and I put the number of the commit.
Yes.
And then where's that commit going? Because I couldn't understand if you were sending that commit to your new branch or to the master.
So the cherry pick, we have an exercise with cherry pick, so we'll probably figure that out at that point. But the cherry pick, so there's the use case we're using here is more or less like when you have a commit in the middle of your branch and you want to get rid of it because it shouldn't be there.
Okay.
And the other use case is more like imagine there's two branches and one is from a colleague or something, and there's like that one commit that implemented something that you really wanted to use in your current branch. So you cherry pick it from there, which basically means you copy the commit from wherever it is into your current branch.
But then I need to be like in the branch that I want to use it.
Yes.
And that's why when I cherry pick it, it's like I bring it, I extract it to the branch.
Yes.
Perfect. Got it. Wait, so copy commits, copy cool commits. I'm going to put copy cool commits.
Yes.
Great.
Because sometimes you don't want to merge the branch. You just want that little bit of code.
Awesome. And then I have a last question, but I don't know if it's related to it. what's happening with the node modules and Git?
With the what?
The node modules and Git.
They should be in the Git ignore.
Yeah, they have to be.
Yeah. But
Hard
my question, then if I have, because when I open certain branches, I have 5,000 commits pending. So of course my Git just goes and said, Lucha, forget about this. So that means that I haven't put them in the Git ignore?
Yes, that is correct.
And then what I need to do, like just because I have the option to put them in Git ignore, I just put them there and then I don't need to pop them up or anything?
No, you have to commit that, because also you have to commit the git ignore to include that. And then those files get, when you commit the git ignore with whatever you want to remove from GitHub, it will, when you commit that, it will remove all those files from GitHub.
Can you come again, please?
Yeah. So let's say you open your git ignore and you don't see the node modules folders listed there. So you include that on the git ignore file, and then you have to commit that to GitHub to make the changes. And then you commit, and then you push you push to GitHub, so the git ignore file gets updated on GitHub and remove everything that you don't want to be there, that you listed on that file.
Because it's possible that I've been tried to put them in git ignore, but then I'm not committing anything. So then every time I open it, I got 5,000 changes.
Yeah, because you did not push that to GitHub.
Thank you so much, Ricardo. Now my life is clear. Thanks.
You're welcome.
I want to know more about how to delete files on from a branch, because when I was doing like JavaScript 3 and 2, all the JavaScript models, I did a huge mistake that I was adding. When I was adding the files, I was doing add dot, so add all. So my branches are completely messed.
Yeah.
I just realized that like weeks later, that I was doing the wrong for weeks. So I don't know how to fix it. That is
I think I'd say we had a lot of issues when we did the final project. We had a lot of issues like that. But I think we can actually, those questions, because they're not on the exercises that we have for the class today. So those questions we can save to the end, and then whatever problems you guys had during the class, we can address that. If there's enough time, we can address that at the end.
Yeah, that's good.
Can I ask something?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, please go ahead. I actually, now that you said the word recording, I started recording.
I was just gonna send you a message on Slack about that, Marta.
Any questions more?
I have a question. I think I get confused with Git revert and Git reset, and I was wondering if there's any nice cheat sheet that kind of like says this one does this and this one does this.
That's a good question. To be honest, the revert is probably not used a lot. but the reset is also super tricky if your branch is already on GitHub. Cheat sheets, I think there's one on the Git repository for this class, actually. If it's not clear there, let me know and I'll make it more clear, or at least try. But the main difference is like with the reset, you actually get rid of the commits. And then the main difference between the hard, medium, and soft is where do the changes that were in those commits go. And the hard, they disappear completely. With the soft, I think they go to your staging area. So, but you basically with reset, you remove the commits. And with reverse, you don't remove any commits. What you do is you make one more commit that reverts whatever you had done. So if you created a file in a given commit and then you revert that, a new commit will be created to revert it, and that means removing that file. That makes sense?
Yeah.
And the thing is, if you already have your branch on GitHub and someone else is using it, if no one is using it, it's fine because you can just delete it from GitHub. But if someone else is using and you do a reset and get rid of 2 or 3 commits, doesn't matter how many, it's gonna be a mess.
I posted a Medium a small article in the class channel. Maybe you see that they have a really nice example actually of it.
Nice, thanks.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
I wanted to ask you one thing. I don't really understand when my Git batch says that this branch is behind 2 pull requests or ahead 2 pull requests from. Yes.
It probably says behind by 2 commits, not pull requests.
Yeah.
But it doesn't, like what it means is when it says that it's behind 2 commits, it basically means that the corresponding branch on GitHub has 2 more commits than the one you have on your computer. And now the tricky part is Git does not update this automatically. You have to update it yourself. So it might not even be true if you haven't updated it. And I can show it in a bit.
Okay.
Any more questions?
About Git stash. So I thought that Git stash means keeping that file for reference purposes, but in one of those videos which you see in that the example says, the example shows that that file was kept for references, and then you merged it and it was not there in the stash. I didn't really understand that Git stash.
Okay, I'll do a quick explanation then. So sometimes you're working on a branch and you want to move to another branch. And Git throws this error. If you move, the changes in file whatever or files will be overwritten when you move to that branch. So you have to either commit or stash your changes. And basically that means that that file has also been changed after you created your branch in the other branch. And those changes are not compatible. And Git doesn't know what to do. Remember, Git is quite stupid, not very smart. So at that point, it's either you commit your changes or you stash them. And sometimes you don't want to commit because you're not done with your work. So the other option is stash. And stash is basically just like take your changes and put them in a box and save them there until you come back. That's all. So those changes will not be committed. They will be saved in that box. And then you can go around to other branches, whatever you want. And when you come back, you just take them out of the box and you carry on your work. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Cool.
And there is no pressure if I want to do some action with that stash. It is okay if I keep it there. for a long
Yeah,
time.
you can keep it there forever. That's fine. And at some point you can just clean up the stash list, and that's fine too. Like, it has happened to me that I didn't want those changes anymore, and then I just left them there to rot.
Okay, good.
Git stash, it will be very useful. You'll be your best friend on the final project because you're going to be working in so many different branches, front end and back end, that and pull requests and all that. So the first thing I did, like, okay, I just finished this code, and now I have to do that thing on that branch. I just stash it and then change to the other branch, and then come back to the branch later, and then what you do is like you do a git pop, which git stash pop, which it brings that stash that you put it away, you bring it back, and you can then apply the commit there and continue working and make changes and go from there.
Yeah, just a quick thing. There's pop and apply, and pop deletes it from the stash. Apply doesn't.
Yeah.
Usually, you don't want to keep it there if you already took it.
Pop,
So pop
actually brings the last, I think the last work that you from the it takes out from the stash, and it goes back to where you were, and then you can do git stash apply, which you apply to the work, isn't it?
You can use it. You can also give an argument to the pop. You can tell it which change, because you have a stash list, and you can say which element in the list you want to pop. Actually, if you don't say anything, it's the one that went in
the last one. Yeah.
But you can specify which one you want.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'd like to move on, but if there's any last question, I want to hear it.
One little silly question. Sometimes I do log and I cannot come out of it.
That's a very good one. Yeah, that happens. You need to press Q for quit. Otherwise, you're stuck in that list of commits.
Yes. And I always close the git bash and then run it.
No.
Yeah, just press Q. Press Q.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's the same command when you do when you list all the branches, like git branch dash a. So you get a list, and then you press Q again to get out of that list.
Oh god, you really got a lot of branches there. Okay. Any other question?
I have a question, Martha.
Yes.
But I don't know if I can ask this now because this is not related to anything in the video. It's something else. A general Git question. So is it
okay, ask the question. If I think it's not relevant,
sure.
You ask it again in the breakout.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So I have a pull request that is done. So when I go to the pull request in my GitHub, I see all the code. But when I go to the folder inside my HYF homework repo, there is nothing except node modules.
You need to pull the branch, I think. So it depends. So you see that on that pull request, right? And
yeah,
now
it's there in the GitHub, yeah.
You have on GitHub, probably if you merge the pull requests, it's both on master and on the homework branch. And what I'm guessing it's happening is either you are in the wrong branch on your computer, or you don't have or the branches are not synchronized. So for instance, if you merge the homework branch with master, but that you didn't pull master to your computer, you'll not see the latest changes.
Okay.
Does it make sense? That's actually a very good question.
You know what I did? The first thing that I did was I went inside the HYF homework repo. I created a project, and so everything I started from scratch inside the repo, and I did 2-3 different modifications. So I had 3 commits on a pull request, and then when I went inside a folder, there's nothing inside the folder except node modules, but the code is there inside the pull request.
Okay, I think it's a matter of like either you're not in the right branch, like if you're on if that was, let's say, React week 3 and you're on the branch for React week 4, you'll probably not see the files.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it was not that.
and then the other thing is React week 3 has to be up to date with what is on GitHub. So we do a pull as the React week 3 from GitHub when you're on your local branch React week 3.
Okay, suppose if I just leave it like that, if now I get some feedback, I do some changes, and I merge it with master, and then what happens?
Sorry, that was a question for me. Sorry.
Yeah.
And it sounds like she also has an issue with her git ignore because she goes to the folder in GitHub and all she sees is node modules. So
no, node modules is probably
it's in
also
the local system,
but it's on the local.
On the local system, okay.
So after you merge with master, it would be nice to update your local master. So you basically go to master and do git pull origin master, and you get everything that is on GitHub into your computer on master.
And sometimes, why is it that the delete command is not working at all? It just it doesn't want to delete even if I say capital D or small d.
Which delete? Delete what? Files, branches?
Git branch. Git branch minus D, whatever, and git branch minus capital D. We have two commands, right? Force delete and
exactly.
It just keeps saying me we cannot the branch cannot be deleted because something is I have to update something or there's some issue with that. I thought if I use force delete whatever I have, it has to go, right?
It should, yeah. Let's check that after the class or during the week, or run the command, do a print screen and send me the results. The one with the uppercase D. Because
I don't know if I can regenerate it again, but I'll try.
The uppercase is to delete the remote branch.
Yeah. No. Well, no, it's force delete, because if you use a lowercase and you haven't merged that branch with master, it will tell you that, or any other branch, I guess. It will tell you that those commits are not anywhere else, blah, blah, and will not let you delete. So then you use the uppercase one and it forces delete. Okay.
One question. I was pushing my changes to my branch, and then it said that it did push, and then I saw it on the GitHub. It wasn't there. Then I push it again, and then Dependabot. There was a message from Dependabot that there is something. The file are not same, and then I resolved it, but it came 3 times to me that there is some problem.
Let's check that after the class, but usually what Dependabot do is if you on your, I guess, node package is whatever. I know exactly how it works with Python, but it's basically like if you have any dependency on your code that has like some vulnerability, like some library that has some vulnerability, Dependabot will come and do a pull request to update the library version, usually. This is what happens with me on Python a bit, and I think it's the same in Node. But
those were normal files like index and my other component file?
Yes, but you usually use libraries. And when you use other libraries, sometimes there's security issues with them, and then Dependabot comes and asks you to update. But let's take a better look after the class, sometime during the week or something. We can have a call and we check that.
Okay.
Because it's very specific, and I need to know more to answer the question properly.
If I resolved it and I delete it, but we can see it, right? It will be there in logs.
Probably, yeah. Probably you can see it. Okay, so sorry, but I'm going to get the questions now so that we can move on and you can ask more questions in the breakout rooms. And also during the week, I'll have some sessions if you want to ask more questions. So, one thing, Nathan was talking about tracking branches and non-tracking branches and remote tracking branches. So there's like 3 types of branches. And the most common is the local branch that you just create in your computer and is not associated to any branch on GitHub. And when you have that kind of branch, maybe it's time to start sharing my screen. You always need to, when you do git push or git pull, you need to say where you want to push and from where you want to pull. I'm on the cherry pick exercise folder. I don't know that yet. Anyways, I'm on this Git repository and I have, let me just see which branches I have. So a local branch that is not tracking anything, you just create it with typical command, git branch, I'll call it my branch, and I'll move to it. And this branch, if I want to do git push or git pull, it doesn't work. I need to do git push, origin, name of the branch, everything. And I'm going to cancel this because I don't really want to do it. And then there's the tracking branches, which are associated to branches on GitHub. And in that case, because there's already that connection, if I do git push or git pull, it will know where to go. So if sometimes you're confused, like, oh, I did git push and it works, and now it doesn't, it probably depends on what kind of branch you are on. And if you want to see which branches are tracking and which are not, you can use git branch -vv. And you see there that, like, I have all these branches that have that, and it's barely readable. Also, let me make this bigger. I heard last week that not everyone can read because it's too small. Okay. So, like, there's this part on these first 3 branches, this blue part that says origin as veggies, origin master. So these branches are actually associated to, in this case, master is associated with master on origin, so master on my GitHub repository. Add veggies is associated with add veggies at origin. Add fruits is also associated to add fruits on origin. But my branch is not. There's nothing blue there. This means that my branch is not tracking any remote branch on GitHub. And if I just do git push or pull, it doesn't know what to do. But if I do that in the other branches, and I can go to master and try that. If I just do git push, okay, maybe just git pull. It actually knows what to do and tells me already up to date. If I try to do this on my branch, which is not a tracking branch, it gives me an error, or not really an error, but it tells me some stuff that there's no tracking information for the current branch or anything. Did this make sense? Let me, I want to see my, so just shout if it didn't make sense, because I cannot see you. No, nothing? Silence? Okay, then I'll tell you about the remote tracking branches. And let me actually start by cloning a certain repository from scratch. Git clone. Okay. So there's local branches that can be tracking or non-tracking, and then there's remote branches. And those, you see them when you do git branch -a or -all, it's the same. You see here that I see master, and then I see add fruits at origin, and then add veggies at origin, and then also master at origin. These are remote tracking branches. They are not really in your computer. You cannot just move to them and do things. They are just there. You know that they exist on GitHub, and that's all. And yeah, I think Nathan showed git fetch quickly. So when you do a git pull, it basically is fetch plus merge. It gets the changes on GitHub and merges them with your current branch. If you just do the fetch, what happens is that the changes end up here. If I do git fetch from master, the changes will be on the remote branch. And then, oh God, I'm getting into a rabbit hole. And then that's when, if you do git status, sometimes, like Priyanka was saying, sometimes it shows, oh, your branch is 2 commits ahead of master or 2 commits behind master. And if you want to update that information, you do git fetch, which will tell you what the differences are. You can see what the differences are between branches, but you do not get those differences into your current branch. This is a bit more advanced, and you can survive very well without it. The reason more I'm showing these remote tracking branches is because if I just do git branch, you see I only have master. But there's also as veggies and as fruits on GitHub. And this is a cool part that I learned this morning. You can do git checkout as veggies. And the branch as veggies is set up to track the remote branch as veggies from origin. So it's tracking the as veggies from GitHub. And now I switch to that branch. And if I do git branch now, I have both branches. And if I do git log, one line, all, I see that, I actually see everything. Wait a second. Maybe I don't want to see so much. Oh, whew. Okay. I wasn't going there yet, but now I can. So one way to see if your branches are up to date with the branches on GitHub is to, one, do fetch for the branch, or do a different type of fetch that Sana will show at the end. But anyways, get the latest changes from the branches on GitHub without merging them. So you just do fetch, you don't do pull. And you see here in the log that master is like at, and origin master are at the same commit. So it means that they're synchronized. Then we have add veggies and origin as veggies. They're also at the same commit. Nice. It means that the add veggies on GitHub and the add veggies on my computer are at the same commit. And then there's this origin add fruits here alone. And there's no add fruits alone anywhere in green. So it means that origin add fruits is there on GitHub, but doesn't even exist on my computer yet. Also, another thing that you might be finding confusing is that usually when you do git log, you only see the commits from your current branch. A bit like this. You don't see other branches. But I did git log -- all. So that shows me all the commits in all the branches. That's why I'm also seeing the remote ones, the ones on GitHub. And I don't even remember what I was going to do. I just wanted to show you that by moving to the branch as veggies, even though I didn't have it on my computer, it was only on GitHub, Git automatically got the branch and all the commits on it. So there's all these commits adding veggies to something. Did this make any sense? Any questions? I'm going to stop sharing so that I can see something. Raise your hand if you did not understand everything. And by raising a hand, I mean you go to the chat and there's a raise hand button somewhere. Or just raise it on your camera. Or shot. It's so quiet. I'm afraid. No, seriously, just tell me. Do you have questions? No?
No, not now. No. Maybe while working.
Okay. I think I'm happy. I'm not sure if you're completely lost or if you completely got it. Okay, then I think this is it for the 3 different types of branches. Daniel was asking me to show you something about draft. Sorry. Yeah.
So what is the purpose of different types of branches? Why do we need 3 different types? Why do we need it?
You don't really need them, but they do exist. It's just a matter if you take advantage of or not. I mean,
but it can be like I don't take advantage of it, but still I can be like very active on Git, right?
So, to be honest, for most of my life, I didn't even know there were 3 types of branches. I learned about them when I started teaching at Hacker Future. And I learned this morning that if you have a remote branch that is not on your computer and you switch to that branch, Git will get everything from GitHub, and now you'll have a local tracking branch also on your computer. And that was Miroslava. She was the one who found that.
Okay.
I know. What's the question?
No, my question was I don't really, the purpose of different kinds of branches, it really doesn't sync. So maybe I'll just leave it to when the situation comes. Let me just have it in my mind and let me explore more maybe.
So as far as I see it, and if someone has a different answer, please ask at the end. But as far as I see, like the main advantage of the tracking branches is that you just do git push or git pull, and Git knows where to go. Also, it tells you when you do git status, if you are behind or ahead of the branch on GitHub by a few commits. But you need to keep the remote tracking branch up to date. I think that's the two main differences. If you have a local tracking branch versus a local non-tracking branch where there's no connection to GitHub. And the remote tracking branches, I think they're useful if you want to see which branches are there on GitHub, or if you just want to move to a branch that is on GitHub but not on your computer. Apparently you can just do that, but you need to know it exists and what the name is. Of course, you could also just go to GitHub and check that. And also to keep changes that are on GitHub, so you can get these changes into the remote tracking branches and check what the difference is between your branch and the respective remote branch without merging the changes yet. I guess if someone is working on that branch together with you and you want to see what the difference is between what you have now and what the other person did, but you don't want to merge the branches yet. In that case, you'd fetch, so you update the remote tracking branch and check the differences without merging with your current branch. That make any sense?
Can I add something?
Yes, please.
For example, if you change something in your local branch or before, for example, you merge the branch to master in your local branch, and before you're pushing to the remote, you can run your app and see if it's working in your local. And if it's okay, then you can push it to the origin branch of the master. But if it's not working, it's easier to fix in the local master and remove your merge and fix the conflict again, and then push it to origin to other people also can use that origin. But if it's in your local branch, you can easier fix the problem.
Sorry, I'm not sure I got that, but like if you have changes that you want to push to GitHub and there's new changes on GitHub that you don't have yet on your computer, if you cannot.
If it's the project that the group working on that, so if it's in origin, all people can get this change. But if it's in your local, you the only person that you can see this different. So if I'm normally merging the other branch to master and run the application, and if I see I didn't fix the conflict good, I don't push it to the origin one, to the GitHub.
But that's how we do normally, right?
Yeah. So it's the good that we have the two different branch here, is the origin and the local. So
okay.
So after this class, they're going to start on the final project, right?
Yes.
Okay. So when you start on the final project, what's going to happen? What Ida said, it's a little bit different when you start the final project because you're not going to merge anything to the master. And you're also not going to merge to the develop either. It's going to be the other way around. The develop will be merged into your branch. And then if you have any conflicts, you're going to have to resolve them.
Oh, gosh. Ricardo, wait a second. You actually do both, no? You do your work.
Yeah.
You merge into develop, but you also merge develop into your branch.
Yeah. Yes. So at first you merge develop to get the changes that are there and then resolve conflicts and then create.
Then you send it back.
Yeah, then you send it back.
Let me do a drawing for everyone. I've been wanting to make a slide with this drawing.
Because
oh wow, you've got a whiteboard.
Yeah, because what's going to happen is they're going to go into the final project and they're going to see Daniel. I don't know if it's Daniel. I think it's Daniel or Zaki. They're going to start working on their branches, and then Daniel and Zach will start merging the develop into their branches on GitHub, and then all of a sudden they're going to have these huge conflicts, and then that's Travis that set up ESLint and all that. And then you push your changes to Git, bro. It doesn't build, the fail build, and then there's a whole bunch of stuff that's going to come up that they have to have a clear understanding how, from the first week, what they're going to see, when they start pushing stuff to the final project.
Okay, so there's going to be an exercise to mimic the workflow for the project. And the main thing is, so you'll be working with this develop branch, which is our master, kinda. Like it will be the main branch you'll be working with, as if it was master. You never even work with master in the final project, I think. And the main thing is, so you'll be working on your own branch. And once you're ready to push and create a pull request, it's also important that you get the latest changes from develop into that branch. Because in the meantime, your colleagues are working on it and branches are being merged with the develop on GitHub. So it's important that you get those latest changes into your branch so that when you push and make sure that everything is working, and this is the important part, I'm guessing. Sometimes, like you are working in your feature, in the meantime, your colleagues work on other branches that were merged into develop. And when you get those changes, it breaks your code. So you need to fix that before you actually push and create your pull request. Otherwise, when it's merged with develop will be broken. And that's actually why I guess you don't work with master straight away. Because if you break develop, that's fine. If you break master, maybe not.
Just one small note here, Marta, before we start drawing. They're not going to be merging to develop. It's going to be Daniel or Zaki, because
yes, but your pull request,
you create a pull request. Yeah.
But that's a good point. It's not you.
Yeah, it's not you.
So in terms of like my favorite diagram, you have like, let's say you have develop, and this is GitHub, and this is local. Local is your computer. Let me put it a bit much higher. And let's say this is develop. I'll just write there. And you also have develop on your computer. And then what generally happens is you update the current develop, the develop on your computer, the local, by doing pull. Then you create your branch. And this is your feature branch where you do your task. And you create the branch from develop, just like you've been, I hope, creating your homework branches from master. And then when you're done,
Marta, there's a specific part there on that, exactly that, when you pulled from develop from GitHub to your local developer, right? So you update the develop.
Yes.
Then you don't create the branch from the develop. You create the branch then you pull origin develop into your branch.
I know you are using a shortcut, but I don't want to show it yet. At the end of the class, feel free to share that. Okay. But I know there's a shortcut that you can just do like this. But
no, it was actually in a shortcut on the if you go into class 11.
Step by step.
The README, there's like a specific thing that Zaki put it in there.
Yeah, I know they do it differently, but I want to do step by step. That's it.
Okay.
So you update your develop branch, you create your feature branch. When you're done with your code, what you do is you pull again develop into develop. So a remote develop, you pull into your local develop on your computer. And then you go to feature branch and you merge develop with it. And you get all the latest changes. As Ricardo is saying, there's another way, and you'll show it in the end of the class. You're muted. We cannot hear. You're still muted.
Yes. No. Yeah.
Do you want to show it in the end of class?
Yeah, I can show it at the end of the class. I can go into the final project and there's like and show them the steps where they they wanted to do it because it's a template for all final projects.
Yeah,
it's like a boilerplate, so everybody has to do the same way.
Cool. And then once your feature branch is up to date and you're ready to push to GitHub, and it will create a feature branch there as well. And then you create a pull request to them. And let me put merge branch here.
But I think they changed this for now, because we did the same way that Marta is showing. We didn't have that shortcut at the time.
But now there's basically a shortcut that I think as far as I get
it's good, but for us they did we didn't have any shortcuts. Yeah. We were going like this.
But in practice, that shortcut also does these steps. It's just in one way, which is faster for you and less, and it causes less trouble, I think. Yes.
Excuse me? I was trying to ask a question, and I'm just wondering how to formulate it, because now this shortcut seems to be actually resolving to what my doubt was. Because what if the GitHub master develop branch changes in the meantime, right? So you do the pull, and then you do your feature, and then it changes for the 5th time, and so before you actually go and move on with your feature, you would have to do a pull again, and it's like a different story. So do you get what I mean?
Yes, Ricardo, how do you update your branch?
Exactly, because it might change so many times that how do I resolve that? The shortcut seems to be resolving this, but I'm still not sure if I'm clear enough with this.
Well, there's things that you're going to learn on the final project, and I think I will be assisting on the final project. I'm not sure yet, but there are things that you can do locally, right, before you push. Which means, you're going to learn about NPM. I think you probably guys know already, but you can actually do NPM run code check, which is going to check all your project to see if there's any conflict. So you can essentially, after you finish your work, you committed your changes, you can, let's say, do a git pull orange develop, and then you bring whatever changes happen on the GitHub, on the master, let's say not master, develop on GitHub, on the remote develop. Whatever changes happens in the meantime, right? So if you pull it again and then you run a code check, and then you see if there's any problems, then you just, any conflicts, and then you solve those conflicts, and then, you commit any changes that you have, and then you push it again. So it's a good practice actually to.
Yeah, but what I meant is just it leads me to a rabbit hole, because I might have more changes, and then in the meantime there are more conflicts to resolve. So it's like a loop. So
okay, let me do that. So I was only update my feature branch when I'm ready to push and do pull request. So that I'm not always just fixing issues. I fix it once and then I push. And to do the update until the end of the class, you'll be doing pull from develop to develop and then merging develop with feature branch. And then at the end of the class, Ricardo will show you how we actually did that during the project. Is that okay?
So even if that's a concern, that's not my concern or our concern, because it will be resolved for us somehow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you. Okay, so I would just like to show you one thing and then going to exercises because those things tend to take time. Daniel was telling me about draft pull requests. And let me see if I can go to, yeah, cool. There's a branch here that I can do a pull request from. Oh, I'm not sharing my screen, smart me. So draft pull requests is the pull request, right? So now apparently GitHub has this thing that you can create a draft pull request. And as far as I get it, the big advantage of being able to do that is that pull request will never be merged with develop in your case, sorry. And will never be merged with develop, but you can ask people to check your codes and take a look, give you some feedback, maybe even pull that branch to their own computers and check it out. So I think that's the point of the draft pull request. Daniel actually didn't give me a use case for you in the project, but I'm assuming it will be something similar. You are working on your branch and want to get some feedback. So you push it to GitHub, create this draft pull request so other people can take a look at it while you work, basically. And the way you create them is the same way as you create a pull request normally. So I'm just like, yeah, I'm on this branch that is not master, and I click new pull request, normal, like anything else. But then here, instead of create pull request, I go to the arrow and I create a draft pull request. And it says there it cannot be merged until marked ready for review. Okay, so apparently at some point it can actually be merged. But that's, as far as I understand it, that's not really the point. It might be, it might not be. It's more so that you can discuss your code with other people using the nice interface of pull requests without it going straight and be merged, which is a bit of an issue. And also people know that it's not expected to be merged. Yep, so that's it. If you hear about draft pull requests, now you know they exist, and I hope you know how to create one. Any final question before I go into the exercise and send everyone into their rooms? No? Silence? Okay, so first exercise. I'll explain this one, and then you go into your breakout rooms and start working on it. And then for the others, you'll just stay there and your mentors will explain the exercises to you. So the first one is you might already be pretty good at doing this, but it's basically doing what I was showing on the whiteboard to mimic a bit what you'll have when you're collaborating with other people. I'll send the final project. So let me just open up the instructions before I start saying things that are not true. And it's also similar to what Nathan did in the videos. So it's not like something entirely different. It's pretty much following the same workflow. And I'm still looking for the file. The bottom line of the exercise is you'll start in master. You create a file just to start and add the names of 3 fruits, 1 per line. I'm going to write instructions on Slack, by the way, so don't worry too much. It's just to lay out the exercise, and if you have questions, you can ask. So you start on master, you create a new file, you put the names of 3 fruits there, commit your changes, push to GitHub. And then we'll mimic like creating a new feature for our code in my super original way, as usual. So we'll go to master. Well, we haven't left yet. We create our new feature branch. We move to it. We do a change in that fruits file. We commit the change. And then, this is the key part, we go to GitHub and also change a specific line on master on that fruits file. And this is to mimic like that someone was working on their branch and that branch got merged while you're still working on your feature. So you need to, after this step on your computer, update your local branch, feature branch. And you do that, as I was saying, by pulling master into master and then merging master into the feature branch. Once it's up to date with master, you just push the feature branch to GitHub and you create a pull request. And I have the more detailed instructions that I'll post. Do you have any questions about this?
It wasn't easy to memorize all these steps.
Sorry, say again?
It wasn't easy to keep all these steps in mind. I hope that you will provide us with some...
Yes, I'll write down the steps. It's just so that you get the overall idea. That's you first create a repository to start to have something to work on, and then you have your feature branch. You do some stuff there. In parallel, it's like someone is also working on their feature branch that gets merged with master. So to mimic that, you just do a change on master straight on GitHub, and then you have to get that change into your feature branch, and then you push. This is the Good. And of course, you'll run into trouble at some point if you follow the instructions properly. And that's very much on purpose. So I'll just do the first step with you, which is setting up the repositories, creating one locally and another on GitHub and connecting them. Just in case I don't think I taught this in the first Git class, so just in case someone doesn't really know how to do it, you probably do, at least half of you, but I'll just do that with you in any case. And then I'll actually break you into rooms with a mentor each. Whoops. So the instructions are not on GitHub. Sorry, on Slack, on your class channel, I hope, if I didn't mess up. So I'm going to share my screen to the first part. So the first part is creating a repository called class example, both on GitHub and on your computer. So I'm going to my desktop and I'm going to do it there. So I'm going to do it the normal way. Create a folder here, class example. I go to it on my command line. I'm there, desktop class example, perfect. I create a repository inside this folder. So now I have a repository inside class example on my desktop. I need to create a class example repository also on my computer. So, sorry, on GitHub. On the computer is already done. So when I go to GitHub, I have this plus sign here next to my awesome face, and it says new repository. So I create a new repository there. I also call it class example for the sake of consistency. And it's all good. The README is public. Now, in case you've never done this, it tells you, it basically shows you a quick setup, like create a new repository on the command line. We already did this. Or push an existing repository from the command line. This is what we have, actually. We already have a repository. We just want to connect it with the one that we created on GitHub. So we follow these instructions. And there's this line that is super important: git remote hat origin, and then the link to the GitHub repository. So basically, this is what establishes the connection between our local repository on the computer and the one on GitHub. Otherwise, if we try to push or pull, nothing works because there's no GitHub repository associated. So I run this line to have the remote. And if I want to see what the link is to this remote repository, I can see do git remote -v. I think Nathan showed this. And you see origin and then a link that is in this case to my account and the class example repository. I'm not going to push anything yet because I haven't done anything. But yeah, this is how we set up create the repositories, create a connection between the one on GitHub and on your computer. And that's it. Any questions before I break out? Everyone?
Can you please take photo of the whiteboard there and can you please take the photo of the whiteboard you draw in your
Yes, bag? I can. As soon as you go into the rooms, I'll find my phone and take a photo.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. So how many mentors are we again? So how many rooms can I create? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think it's 7 people. No, wait. Is it more?
I think mentors can raise hands and then you can count.
Yeah, please raise hands. Click on the button to raise hands or raise your hands. 1, 2, 3. Oh God, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Me too, Rufaidah.
Rufaidah, 5. And Samia, 6. And I will just be going around different rooms. If there's any question for me specifically, just write me on Slack and I'll join your room.
Okay.
So, 6. Sorry, I'm making the rooms. Making sure there's 1 mentor per room. Oh god, the first room has all the mentors.
There is also a Miroslava, so I think there are 7 mentors.
Yeah, I think it's more, yeah. So I need to recreate. Wait, 7 rooms. Recreate for all rooms. Okay, so, oh god. Yeah, okay. Move to 3.
So there are 8.
8. More or less, I'm not counting myself. Okay, I think I'm the center. Fatima. Okay, if anyone doesn't have a mentor in their room, write on Slack. But I think now it's fine.
Just become a mentor.
So don't forget to have a break around 2, and at 3:30 we finish and go back out to the main room. So enjoy.
Actually, we have to go to the room. Yeah, got it.
Yeah, I'll get an invitation.
Hi, Mohammed. Can you hear us? Hi.
So is it only 3 of us, or we have one more person?
Can be. Maybe we can start. So my name is Miroslava, and I am from class 11. So I just finished the final project.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm not somehow specialized on GitHub or Git, but after final project, I have some overall experience.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I see that Marta, she posted the exercise in the channel for class 12. So what I think the best will be that we will do it, and I will do it also. And when I'm done, or when you are done, just say, and we will like say where we are, so we know, like if somebody is in the middle or in the end, and then we will just come to some conclusion, because in half an hour we should have a break. So let's try to do it in this half an hour.
Okay. Okay, so we will follow the instructions, and each of us, we will do it separately, and then when we have issues or something, we can just discuss then and there, right? Okay, I will do that. Yeah, it's fine.
I think that's the best, and in the end we will just check.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I will do it also, and if something, just tell me. I hope Mohammed can hear us.